Yeah, what Brad was just saying is super important. I think that if you look at any man who's very good at being a man, most of them have had extremely traumatic lives. Yeah. If you're going to talk about the most brave man you can think of, he's been through trauma. If you think of the best soldier you can think of, he's been through trauma. You think about anything, the man who's going to charge into the burning building, the fireman, he's been through trauma. If you find a man who's never had any traumatic experiences, he's terrible at being a man. Yeah. He's weak and he's soft and he'll collapse and he's never struggled. I know me, and I don't want to tell a bunch of stories on the internet, but I know all the I went through and all the pain I had to suffer to become the man I am. And every time I meet another guy who has his life in order, it's the same story. This f***ed me up, but I thought, okay, I'm going to attack the world anyway. Yeah. And that's how it goes. So as a man, you're right. You're right. You have to be vulnerable. You have to feel it. You have to accept it, but you have to put it in a positive direction. This is what's so dangerous about what we were saying earlier, where people make excuses and externalize because they're taking that trauma and that pain instead of going, I f***ed up. She left me because I wasn't good enough. I'm going to become better. Instead, she is the problem. Yeah, like it's there, and then they lose their ability to go and become something. They lose their own motivational force, and then they sit there with a fucking ego and arrogance and go, I don't need to become any better. I can stay a jackass. It's all her fault. I'll find another one. And then it happens on repeat, and it just ends up a downward cycle of dumb. I think love comes from a position of strength. I think you always have to be a strong person to love. I think you have to be an intelligent person to love, which is why stupid people are so hateful. And you have to work on yourself, and I think you have to become strong in your body and mind to love things. It's not easy to love things and people when they do you wrong. It's not easy to love a woman again after your last one did whatever. It's not easy to do it. You have to be a strong individual. And that's why I think love comes from strength, which is why I always say strength is so important mentally and physically. I say that all the time. It's all I talk about. I say that if you're a man, the easiest way to improve your life in every single possible way is to just work on your physical strength, and your mental strength will follow, and you become a better person you can love. You know this yourself. Look at the size of you, right? You go in the gym, it's the biggest guys that are the nicest guys. True or false? You can't pour from an empty cup. And before you give love to anybody else, you have to truly love yourself. And I think the easiest way to love yourself as a man is to be proud of yourself. And to be proud of yourself, you have to decide who you want to be inside of the metaverse, inside of the matrix. You have to decide the character you want to be and try your best to achieve it. If the matrix if you allow the matrix attack to convince you to not have faith in yourself, you're never going to make it. Have you ever seen anybody who's done anything fantastic and they didn't have faith in themselves? When they got to the top, they go, I just don't know. Another thing that's interesting is I've never seen anybody do anything on accident. This is what's actually very interesting. When somebody tells me their goals, I ask what their plan is to achieve their goals, and they never have one, and it's fucking dumb. But what I'm saying is I've never seen anybody do anything amazing by accident. So what this extrapolates out, let's use the gym and money, right? Have you ever found a guy in the gym who's in fantastic shape, and you said, why are you in such good shape? How'd you get so big? And he goes, oops. You have to know, you're not going to do it accidentally. You have to do the right things every single day. Okay. And it's the same with money, right? If I meet somebody and they're loaded, they're like, how'd you make so much money? Well, this is what I did. But I did this, I did that. I spoke to this guy. I started this company, When you ask the average guy, do you want to be rich? He goes, yeah. How are you going to get rich? Don't know.
Yeah, of course.
So you're just going to, how'd you get rich? Oops. This just like, it's dumb. Like it's just people, and it's kind of amazing. The last 5 years have proved it, but the majority of people are just fucking sleepwalking, bro. They have no plan to achieve any of their goals. They don't try very hard at shit. Everything is someone else's fault. And when my ship comes in, don't worry, in a few years, I'm going to be here. Successful is all about self-definition, which is what I was saying at the beginning. You have to decide who you want to be. And if you wanted to be Joe Schmo and you pull it off, then you'll be a pretty happy, content person. To decide who you want to be. I think the people who are miserable, it's the gap between their expectations and their reality. That's where the misery lies. Yeah. My expectations were always enormously high. Even when I was a nobody, I knew I had to be filthy rich and a kickboxer, and I knew I had to be the kind of guy that people gave a shit. Stress, stress has a placebo effect attached to it, because the placebo effect is extremely powerful. So they found some of the most stressed people in the world, and they split them into two groups, and they're all equally stressed. They all have a bunch of cortisol in their blood. Yeah. The people who believed that stress was bad for you and that stress can hurt you, and they believed those media articles, were dying earlier. They were having heart attacks and having stress-related illnesses. The people who believe the opposite, who just said, stress is part of being successful. I like stress. When I feel stressed, I do my best. It makes me anxious. It turns my brain on. I like being stressed. Lived longer than average. Yeah. The point is, the same drug, how you look at it and how your body anticipates it, how you feel about it, affects the real world results, which goes back into what you were saying earlier about the jealousy. You're saying people look on social media and they get jealous and it demotivates them. That's because they decide to be demotivated by it. Do you know what happens when I get jealous of somebody? I beat them. One, I think a lot of it came from chess, because chess is the most ruthless game on the planet. And what chess will teach you, chess teaches you that if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. It doesn't matter if it's the smallest mistake. It doesn't matter if you just took too long to think to make the right move and you ran out of time on the clock. At some point, you fucked up for you to lose that game. It's 100% accountability with no luck. That's what's so important about learning chess. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you need to, as a man, adopt the mindset that absolutely everything that happens to you is completely and utterly your fault, whether it's good or bad. And most men don't have that. Most men don't have that. When the Matrix was attacking me and they were destroying me, when they're calling up my exes trying to get fake charges on me and put me in jail, when they close my bank accounts and I use $10-11 million, when they ban me across all social medias and lie about me, when they harass my family, I'm sitting there going, this is my fault. All of this is me. I got here. It's my fault. I'm not going, that was unfair. It was orchestrated. The NGOs worked against me. Because that is not helpful.
So
belief is something, it's not, I can't tell you, oh, believe in yourself. That's a bunch of crap. Belief came from me, was going through those hell weeks, taping those legs up, getting up early in the morning by myself, no coach, getting myself up, motivating myself every single day. When I'm out there in 240-mile runs and I don't want to be out there and I'm 90 miles into it and I have 150 miles to go and no one's there saying, come on, David, I'm forming belief. Many people form belief in many different ways. For me, this is how I do it. So when those hard times come my way, I know exactly how to get through them. When I first I self-published my book, Can't Hurt Me. No one believed in me. I believed in myself. I sold almost 5 million copies of that. Now Never Finished just case is coming out December 6th. Never Finished, I guarantee you, the audio book will probably go down as probably one of the best audio books. It sounds cocky as hell of all time. It's truly amazing what we put into that book because of how I've lived my life. A lot of people come up here and speak about motivation and pushing yourself, and they're not doing it. They're not waking up every single day. They have a canned speech they go off and they tell you about what to do, how to do it. Wake up every morning, make your bed, take a cold shower, all that crap. I'm telling you right now, you have to be that person that leads from the front. Many of you out here are in leadership positions. And many of our leaders right now are not leading from the front. They're leading from the rear, but they're telling you how to do it. They're waking up late. They're not doing what they say. So in life, it's real important to do what you say because that's where true knowledge comes from. And when I was going through Navy SEAL training, there's one thing I told myself. I wanted to quit every single day. But many dreams die while suffering. And many of us out here have suffered. And when you're suffering, I'm not talking about just physically. I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most. When I was going through pararescue, I wanted to be a pararescueman so bad, but that water haunted me. So when the suffering got too much, my dream died. And pretty much I almost died with it. If I didn't find Navy SEALs and getting past that hump and overcoming my demons and facing my demons every day, I would have never been up here today. You can't outrun your demons. They'll always know where you're hiding. Trust me at that. And I'm gonna end with this. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done.